Attention! Please be advised. The following episode contains spoilers. Don't say we didn't warn you.
You don't know. She could survive.
We don't.
You don't know.
know.
But I mean, and that's the thing where it's like, look, this dude got stabbed in the back 3 times, got shot 3 times. Man, he living, and so that's a cool, interesting thing where I thought halfway through the movie, where like I thought
he's living.
He's living.
Is that as if he's like going on vacation to the Bahamas afterwards? Like I'm living.
He's living, dog.
Got all my kills done. Going to Hawaii.
Living.
His bumper sticker just says, "I'm living."
I'm doing living stream right now on Twitch. Check it out.
Hollow living.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Nerd On, the podcast you didn't need, but you deserve. And where all levels of nerd are welcome.
You do deserve it.
They do. The curse of Haddonfield is not that Michael Myers returns every year, but that Halloween continues to happen to Haddonville. Today, our topic is the sequel of a retcon sequel and favorite franchise of Capeless Crusader host Anthony Esteves.
My best friend.
Estevez.
Shout out.
That brings Laurie Strode back to the big screen with Halloween Kills. I think that's how you...
I don't know what that is.
I wasn't let in on that, so... Anyway...
We're playing songs from my movie.
Before we get into this madness, let's introduce the host. To my left.
Let it burn! I'm Tom.
And
I'm
to my
Corey.
right. And I am Josh, and this episode is brought to you in part by the members of the Nerd On Nation that is powered by Patreon. As a member of the Nerd On Nation, you do get fun perks, like you get bonus episodes that nobody else hears. You get early access to these episodes. You get access to...
Capeless episodes?
Capeless episodes, you do. Early access to their episodes.
And all the wrestling they talk about.
Yep,
Yeah.
lots of wrestling.
Actually, to be fair, that deep, dark Patreon is from Capeless Crusaders.
When they talk about wrestling.
Also, yes.
I mean, Steve's likes wrestling, so...
He's not the only one.
He
so
gets
does
to nerd on.
Dr. Barry.
Yes, Dr. Barry. You also get access to channels on our Discord server that only you have access to.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of fun perks over there, including getting to support us in everything that we do. We get to keep growing and being the best that we can be.
Come
And
talk
that's
about
strong.
burgies with us on the Discord.
Yeah, talk about
Me
burgers.
and Bradley talk about burgers.
Yeah, there's burger talk. There's gear talk. There's all sorts of talk over there. Including
Even
nice
tacos.
talk, positive talk. Yeah, tacos. Anyway, check that out. nerdon.tv/Patreon. And check out that Discord. nerdon.tv/Discord. What else, Tom? What other?
It's neat.
It's neat. It's super neat.
Talking about neat.
Talking
Keeping
about
things
neat. You got to keep it neat.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's really scary if you don't.
Seg you.
But do you even know what's spookier than that? Or black cats on Halloween?
What?
It's shaving your balls with anything other than Manscaped.
Manscaped.
When it comes to below the waist grooming, there's no need to carve your pumpkins this Halloween because Manscaped is here to upgrade your grooming experience. Go from bite-sized candy bar to a king-size candy bar and join the 2 million worldwide by going to manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping with the code NERDON.
200% off. Take it.
200% off.
No, don't. That is not right.
But maybe keeping that down there. Maybe you got that covered. Maybe you should get yourself a weed whacker.
Yeah.
Because sometimes bats want to come out of the cave.
The
And,
nostrils.
you gotta
Yeah.
take care of that.
Nose.
The nose.
The nostrils.
You want to look good for this Halloween costume party that hopefully is very safe and in a trustworthy environment.
So for 20% off,
You get
And free
where do they
shipping.
go?
and free shipping. You go to manscaped.com and put in that code NERDON.
There it is.
Hey, Tom?
Yeah.
You don't got to yell those.
Oh, I do. That's
Yeah.
the energy I'm feeling. It makes you want to go.
Maybe slow down a bit though, so
No.
we don't say 200% off.
200%. That's how good I would feel if you went out there and got that 20%
As
off.
a mixer. I don't
and
think
and
that you
free
need
worldwide shipping.
Yeah. Thank you, Manscaped.
Thank you, Manscaped. And
I use your products daily.
and an honorable mention to Odyssey, Apogee, and
Embody audio. Embody audio.
Body Audio. Check them out. They have
Embody Audio.
they have an amazing software called Immerse. Get that 360 immersive audio with your PC
pretty
games.
badass.
It's pretty dope.
Embody audio.
Body Audio.
There you have it.
But
Embody Audio.
that is all the housekeeping. Let's get on to this killer of an episode.
There it is.
I did the thing.
You did it.
He
so
said it.
good.
And I did it okay.
So everyone,
Confetti, streamers,
if you're brand new to Nerd On,
the Joker.
this is the part of the
Sorry,
show
Julie.
where we are going to go into our next 2 segments. And our first one deals with the end of the show because we are going to rate it from 1 out of 10. So right now we're going to go about that by Guess That Grump. More like guessing that grump. But yeah.
Guessing that grump, and there's gonna be a grump, and it's gonna be Tom or Josh or Corey. Who knows?
Dun. That's how it goes. It goes dun 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 dun
No,
dun,
bum,
dun.
bum.
I thought you were saying that that's how the Guess That Grump song goes. And I was like,
There is
that
a
is
grump,
how it
and
goes.
it's gonna be Josh or Corey or Tom, and we'll see.
Dun, and then a pumpkin melts. So Guess That Grump
Masks.
is the part of the show where we are going to go around the table and guess who's going to have the lowest score from 1 out of 5. No matter how high the number is, the lowest one will be the grump for the week. And since I always explain, the music always changes. You love it,
and we can't
like to make
understand it.
Who knows?
I'll go first.
Okay, let me take
I'm
that note, baby.
Going to guess that the grump will be
Mm-hmm.
Josh.
Okay.
Josh.
Okay.
Josh, who you got?
I think the grump will be not a spite vote, Tom.
I already wrote it for you.
There you go.
So
Thank
it's a
you.
spy vote.
Thank you.
I was like, I know who it's gonna be. I'm also voting Tom, but not out of
Jesus
spite.
criminy.
So I have no votes.
and we've all written our numbers
We've
down.
all written it down. It's at the bottom of the same note I'm taking these notes on.
Mine's on the top.
Are you sitting at home going, y'all, Corey doesn't like John Carpenter?
Yeah.
Because I don't listen to the episodes. No. Are you sitting at home saying, like, why didn't Corey get any votes? I think that's bullspit. Because everyone
That
should
is
have a vote.
bullspit.
Where's Caitlin? Listen, go on to our Patreon and you can vote. If you're part of the Nerd On Nation, you could vote
You can
on
vote
every
with your
episode
votes.
on who you think is the grump's going to be. And then if you get it right, you could be the Guess That Grumper, Mob Mentality, Get That Guy.
Gaslighting. Sheriff
Trick-or-treating.
man.
Big John, Little John, Guesser Grumper. And we'll give you a shout out on the show if you get it right.
Well played.
So just saying, join that Nerd On Nation, participate, get a shout out on the show. For example, the Nerd On Nation has spoken. There is a definitive, it was very close between you and I, actually.
Yeah. And?
And it's Tom.
And it's you.
Yeah.
No, it's you.
Yeah.
So that is 2 votes. So the Nerd On Nation has guessed Josh, for those of you listening at home and not knowing who just the word you means when there's 3 hosts. Nerd On Nation for Josh. So that's no votes for me and 2 votes for each of you. Again,
Josh will go last.
good luck for all those guesser grumpers. Hope you get a shout out on the show.
Yeah. So now we've done that. We'll move on to the complete spoilers. And
I don't know if you noticed, I take my headphones off now. When we do that.
I go so far away.
Yeah, I know.
And
I get it.
we're gonna
The waveform.
we're gonna go ahead and go to our first impressions and our initial reactions of said film. Since I broke everyone's ears, how about Corey goes first?
Yes. I love John Carpenter. Hence the McCready here in front of me
Got
for
a
those of
little
you watching at home.
McCready toy.
And the first film is up there with like
The first film or the first sequel film?
The first film is up there with one of the
1978
best atmospheric horror slashers of all time. Not a huge Freddy Krueger fan, not a big Jason Voorhees fan, but my man John Carpenter, to me, when it comes to horror, can do no wrong. Having said that, this film I feel like is even in some ways more of a spiritual successor than even the 2018 film was. I enjoyed aspects of this film more so than I did with the 2018 Halloween. I did have some parts that I felt were a little heavy-handed within it. So I wouldn't say it's my favorite by any means. But overall, I really enjoyed my time watching this film. I enjoyed the creativity behind a lot of the kills that we'll get into. And I enjoyed seeing what might be the bloodiest Halloween we've ever seen.
You me.
I'll go.
No spoilies.
I really liked the 2018 film. And I liked it for its expansion of the universe. And the little bit more focus on the story, whereas this one was much more focused on the horror part of the film in terms of the slasher bits. I did not enjoy this one as much.
Okay. I picked right.
I really, really liked the 2018. So going into this, I was like, hell yeah. I was really excited for this one and walked away a little disappointed. I don't want to go into spoilers and all that kind of stuff, but I mean, there were some things that I really, really liked about it. I will say that. There are some things that I was like, oh, that's fun. I like how they did that. But yeah, that's my initial reaction.
Thomas.
So I hate the fact that a sequel to a movie is its same name. I hate that Halloween sequel is called Halloween.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Almost like The Thing.
Or
and its sequel being called
The Thing. It's a prequel. Or like Candyman and Candyman. I'm like, stop. Just stop. It's a reboot or it's not. Just call it Halloween Revived or Halloween Comes Back.
Returns.
Just something. I'm just like, because now we have to do this. Well, then the Halloween 1978 and then the Halloween 2018, which is actually a sequel, and this was a sequel of a sequel of a sequel.
We get it. But this movie, Halloween Kills, has a different name.
Just so that whole name convention irritates the shit out of me.
I can tell.
Because we never talked about the first one. This one here, I'll say it this way very quickly, in a very interesting way. I think the editing is everywhere.
Yeah.
I think the film, I absolutely love the concepts thrown in.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if this was like the best way to execute them. I love the idea. I love horror films with some socio-political kind of conversations and dialogues. But I'm like, but why? In this one. So I enjoyed it. I was in a theater. The crowd was really there for it. So that really improved my experience watching it. But I did definitely leave watching the film being like, I liked a lot of things on it, but there's things I really didn't enjoy from this.
Kind of how I felt.
Yeah. So it's a very interesting thing. And it just, in a way, it makes me more of like curious to watch the next film purely to be like, okay, where's the landing even going to be?
It's very much so a middle film.
Yeah.
It feels that way.
It's been interesting to just anytime we do one of these like these blockbuster sort of films, so to speak.
Even though
it's very interesting to see the dichotomous nature of the audience for these two films.
Oh, yeah.
Well, there's some that are like, no, I'm here for what 2018 was, and then there are some that are like, no, I'm here for what Kills was. Like, this is why I watch. This is why I watch horror
like
films.
me who are like, I'm here for what the full picture's about to be when this last one comes out.
But I mean, it kind of feels like, the first, the sequel was
2018.
2018 was like such a huge success, and they were like Back to the Future, like, we got to make 2 more movies because we got the money to make 2 more movies.
Well, at the end of the first one, did they not have the fire trucks going to?
They had the fire trucks going too, but I think
it was planned. A trilogy was planned the entire time.
I'm not 100% sure because it feels like that could have been just really easily added in, like while like early test screenings were going on. They're like, we really like it. Let's green light.
I read that it wasn't like a for sure like we're gonna go into this trilogy idea. It was just like let's make this and see how it goes.
Gotcha.
And then
they got 2 more sequels instead of just 1, which is like, I don't know why you need 2 more. But anyways, we won't go further in so we can get to the spoilers after this. We'll go to the next 2 parts, which are going to be our brief synopsis and our production before we get into the full spoilers. And our brief synopsis will be given to us by...
Me?
Yes, you.
Oh, I got it backwards. I thought I was doing the...
Production?
Yeah.
I said...
I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay.
I was getting the Patreon stuff ready to go.
Hey, Josh, there's only a 220-second episode.
The nightmare is not over. As unstoppable killer Michael Myers escapes from Laurie Strode's trap to continue his ritual bloodbath. Injured and taken to the hospital, Laurie fights through the pain as she inspires the residents of Haddonfield to rise up against Myers, taking matters into their own hands. There you go. How's that?
Tom's spicy today.
Yeah,
I like it. Every day. So the production, the production will be given to you by me, distributed by Universal Pictures, who's given us such things as The Thing, Child's Play, and Psycho. The director is David Gordon Green, who has directed such things as Pineapple Express, Your Highness, and Stronger. The producers, Mark Omelek Akkad from almost all of the Halloween movies, starting from Halloween: The Curse of Michael Myers, so not the original ones. Walking After Midnight and Halloween H2O Resurrection. Producer also Jason Blum from Get Out, Invisible Man, Whiplash, Bill Block, Vanilla Sky, District 9, and Elysium. Writers, Scott Teems wrote things such as That Evening Sun, The Quarry, and Rectify. Danny McBride, who has written such things as The Righteous Gemstones, Vice Principals, and Eastbound and Down. David Gordon Green has also contributed in the writing for Snow Angels, Goat, and Undertow. The cast has Jamie Lee Curtis from True Lies, Knives Out, and Halloween. Judy Greer from 13 Going on 30, Ant-Man, and 27 Dresses. Andy Matichak from Assimilate, Underground, and Orange is the New Black. Will Patton from Armageddon, The Punisher, and The Postman. Thomas Mann from Project X, Hansel and Gretel, Witch Hunters, and Kong Skull Island. Kyle Richards from The Watcher in the Woods, The Car, and Halloween. Nancy Stevens from Escape from New York, Halloween 2, and Halloween H2O. Charles Cyphers from Major League, Assault on Precinct 13, and The Fog. The release date, 2 of them, September 8th, 2021 in Venice, and October 15th, 2021 in the United States. The runtime is 105 minutes. The budget was $20 million, and it grossed so far $55.8 million, even though it's on Peacock at the same time. So it worked out. Rotten Tomatoes score, just like Josh said, there's a big dichotomy. 39% from critics from 148 reviews and 72% from audience from 2,500 ratings.
There you go. There you have it.
Did I black out? Did you say Anthony Michael Hall?
I did.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I blacked out.
Yeah.
So it happens, man. Like when he did it with my, fence riding thing from World's End.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause, I like the fence
selective memory.
Go check out that episode now.
Yeah.
So now
I may have edited around that with a replay cam.
So let's go on to the complete spoilers of everything. If you haven't watched the movie yet, don't listen to this part. Don't watch this part. If you have, enjoy. Favorite parts, favorite characters, our qualms, and then our final rating. Who wants to go first?
I will. I mean, one of my favorite kills in it was the Desert Eagle door kick.
Oh, so sad.
That got me. I was like, oh shit. That got me.
No.
That got me good. That was classic like 1970s horror film moment where she's
Just
shooting
like
the gun
pure
and it just,
accident.
boom, kicks the door super hard at her, and that's that. That's the end of that.
I mean, a deagle
love
is a
that.
pretty strong
It's a
gun.
shotgun handheld.
It's I did read this post the other day. Someone was like, by the way, I just want you to know that the way that Desert Eagles work in video games and movies is very different. It's a ridiculous weapon. You could put a 50 caliber bullet in a handgun.
Yeah.
It jams all the time. It's terrible. It's terrible. It's a terrible gun. But yeah, getting to see that was pretty funny to me.
Josh?
I love
Big John and Little John.
Jesus, no. This is Josh.
I love the flashbacks and the way that they incorporated that, and there's a
Saul
little
Loomis.
bit of fan service. Just the way that they design them, the way
Shot
that
them,
they shot
lit 'em.
them. Yeah, exactly. Like it was like, whoa, I'm all of a sudden watching
I was gonna say, usually with those like flashback sequences, you can tell like, oh, they just put some filter over it and they made it look aged or whatever. They all have these terrible wigs on.
yeah.
But something about whatever lens they were using and the light and the makeup, like it all
Or
came
the
together. Or the filter, all of it, the color grading, all of it. They really
Costumes,
nailed
hair,
the,
like yeah.
I felt like I was just watching a restored
Yeah.
1978.
Which was
Halloween.
Yeah.
which made it like sometimes I feel like people who are listening to the show who have some issues watching older films because it just doesn't look as clean or sharp.
Yeah.
Like this one kind of fixes that where like it isn't as clean and sharp because it is a little creamier and fuzzier and softer, but it looks good and it's still something that you enjoy to watch because everything's well lit. And everything, you could see it all, and the light drops off on people's faces and stuff like that. So it still looks good for it trying to look for that antiquated look.
Yeah.
You get these dark shadows too, though, that really only happened when you're shooting on film, which digital has lost a little bit. And it looks so good. You're right.
Yeah.
One of my favorite parts is one of the parts I think has the most kind of weird backdraw on it, which is I liked the idea that Michael Myers made everyone into monsters. I really liked that
Through his actions.
that realization.
What fear does to people.
Yeah, it's Dunning-Kruger effect. It's, mob mentality. It's what people talk about with cancel culture, all this stuff. But it's just, that whole hysteria. And
it's anybody. It's doctors, nurses.
Yeah, which in a way, it
Capitol buildings,
kind of goes a little bit of like the thing, where like no one can be trusted. Everyone's just scared for their lives and, justifiably so. But like.
And even though the facts are in front of them, they're justifying it in their own head of like, why this guy's Michael Myers. You're like, well, this guy's like 5 feet tall.
Well, but also it's just like the odious nature of masses where no one's listening to reason, and the people who are speaking reason are screaming at the top of their lungs, but this sounds like whispers amongst the loud yelling.
They're getting it from like, I even kind of draw focus to this. Like they're getting their news from the TV. They're getting it from their phones and stuff where it's like, it's not the full picture. It's,
right.
And so you make an assumption of the whole situation.
A question
based on,
sounds like a declaration.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed that. I mean, the whole sequence with Tommy and I forget her character's name every single time. So it's Judy Greer and Anthony Michael Hall. And it's that scene where the mom, and where the doors are locked. And I just really enjoyed not so much the result of it all, because it's really sad, but like I really enjoyed just the moment that happened, because it was just like on opposite ends of the logic pool there. You have two people who are affected by this rash behavior. One who should be absorbing guilt, and the other because they were guilty, not because they didn't try their best to keep someone safe, but because they had to witness kind of like the downfall of humanity.
Right.
And I thought that was just a really kind of cool thing to elevate this idea of what Halloween was, but it felt very like, is that where we're going? Okay.
Well, I mean, they really nail that point home with an innocent person. I mean, they have their own past, but anyway, in this scene, in this movie, they're mistaken for being the cause of the fear, and they die in the reaction to that. So I mean, it's kind of something that some people like about the Halloween universe, or just even horror movie universe, where directors are like grasping this idea that sometimes bad things happen to innocent people based on what other people are doing. And there are, I can't think of the word. The bad things happen, like your
circumstances, or
no, your actions have consequences. The consequences.
Hey,
consequences.
I mean, we don't have to get too far into it, but it tends to happen a lot of the times whenever, a police officer kills an innocent person for a crime that they did not commit. And then everyone starts digging out like, oh, well, they smoked weed. Oh, they stole from a store 10 years ago and had to pay a fine. It's like, but that's not why the cop killed him.
Oh, he pulled his gun out and he accidentally shot himself.
Yeah, this kind of stuff where it's like, like whatever the mental escape asylum person did beforehand, like what the fate that befell this person was not because of what he did then. It was because these people were.
If he did anything at all, he could have just been committed.
Exactly.
Like he might not have committed any crime ever.
I'm going to assume the worst. Let's say he did something. He was in the right place. He was in a mental facility where they can take care of him because he needs help, and he escaped. But what does he do? He went to a hospital to ask for help.
Yeah.
And then what happens at the hospital? He gets sent to his death.
Yeah.
Like, you could have done terrible things. And under the circumstance of looking for help, asking for, forgiveness, looking to repent, nope, we're going to kill you.
Yeah.
Like, there is a very cold injustice that scene portrayed to me that I really enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was like, oh, wow, okay, cool. Like, this is how you're going to portray that Michael Myers is more of a virus. Michael Myers is more of like this infectious paranoia that has been stoking for the years and decades that's been going on, which works well with the fact that like this is, a direct sequel of a film that takes place 40 years after the original events, because it's like, yeah, I saw Michael Myers kill all these people for years and years. I really like the sheriff Lee. Who he's like, I was like,
the original sheriff.
Yeah.
And
he was like, all these people have died. I've seen your department like fail and fail and fail, and it's like, yeah, at a certain point, it's going to build up this resentment. It's one of the greatest lines ever from X-Men Last Stand. If you cage the beast fights back. You know what I'm saying?
I'm sorry.
Man.
You know,
I blacked out.
So yeah, I enjoyed that scene.
Yeah.
Other favorite parts?
I like in this one expanding the idea of what keeps Michael going in terms of what is actually like the fear. I think the sheriff is talking about. It's
The more he
fear.
kills, the more powerful he becomes.
Yeah, because that's always been like a question I know that comes up. Is it's like what keeps Michael going? I have an idea.
I troll Steve's all the time.
That's why he's making that face.
Because so I'm holding my hands. I'm cradling my head in my hands.
Is that your? Oh, really?
This is my. I would love to hear this because I always think about the Joker. I'm like, this is a cartoon character. This is a comic book character. Of course he survives. But Michael Myers is in a world where we pay taxes. We have to get a driver's license.
He's got to do laundry
Like,
somehow.
How does this man survive? But you know,
But what about Freddy Krueger?
he's not in this universe.
I'm just saying, like, do these characters? That's in a world where people pay taxes,
Which I'm okay with because he's some evil demonic thing. I'm like,
Okay.
cool. If he just ascended,
Same with Jason.
yeah. I'm like,
Okay.
cool. That's the thing. That's fake. But it's like, so is this thing?
But isn't there the possibility that Loomis was right and evil? He is evil incarnate in a human form.
I just want to make sure that it's 100%.
vessel?
I just want to make sure it's 100% clear that like
Gotcha.
we're not pretending this is a human anymore. Because then we stop having these ideologies of like, do we need to understand them? And I think this film also does really a good job of saying like, no, it is a little boy in a grown man's body
Mhm.
filled with evil.
Mhm.
And I'm like, if that is the explanation, I'm totally cool.
Yeah.
It's not human. Like Michael Myers is not a human, and that's why like
He's like a possessed in a sense.
in the
is how
credits,
I've always taken it.
it's credited as the shape, and so I'm like, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
If we're not saying it's a human anymore, I'm totally fine.
In my mind, I've always thought that Michael Myers is so past the point in terms of mental, like he doesn't understand pain in a sense of like his body just pushes through any sort
Like
of
the
pain.
James Bond
or-
villain?
Yes and no, though, right? Because he's reaching out and she knifes his wrist and he like pulls back and lets
Yeah,
go.
it's just like because
Yeah.
there's multiple facets of pain of like whether you keep going, how much you react to it.
I mean, he does get knocked down.
Mhm.
You see him that he can't.
You
I don't
can
know.
feel pain.
He is susceptible to getting
Yeah.
knocked down. I always love
It's how much
making a
can
joke.
you then recover?
I love making a joke about it because I'm like, look, every human in the world has painful shits. So Michael Myers either is not a human or he takes painful shit somewhere and we're not watching. So, favorite part, Corey?
Speaking to the 6-year-old mind in an adult's body, the older couple, with the guy from Rescue Me, shout out, love that show.
With the drone.
With the drone, when he's like testing the knives out in his back, and he's like, let's try this one. Not quite that one either. And he's just like, that's that weird childlike moment. It's like in the first one where he like stabs that guy to the door, and it's just kind of like,
That's how that works.
look, I did that. He's just sitting there. That weird, that same kind of curiosity that kids have when they like burn ants. And you're like, that's a terrible thing you're doing. But they're like, but I'm dissecting it at a different level than just like, it's so dissociated, but you're like, I'm studying this. And he's just being like, okay, this knife.
The
Here we go.
benign version of it is Summer from 5 Days of Summer cutting her hair and not feeling anything.
Right. There
It's
you
like,
go.
I didn't know I could do such things. I could change the world in a way that, I have zero attachment to.
Mhm. Yeah.
So Summer is a serial.
That whole scene to me was really, being a fan of the original, that felt like such an homage, that whole scene to the original. I mean, when he takes the
light.
what kind of light is that called? The tube light? Fluorescent light.
Fluorescent light.
And breaks it and just slowly
Yeah.
just does it without any sort of hesitation or getting ready to do it. Just kind of happens. He's this unstoppable force, which is kind of where I was like, when I watched the original, I heard Loomis call him, evil incarnate. I was like, okay, so he's just like this entity that was much like, if you want to get in like a biblical story with it, you know how like Mary gave birth to Jesus, which was like the child of God in some sense. So like, what if this is that
Antichrist.
the opposite of that,
Yeah.
right?
I
So,
like that idea so much more.
that's how I've always taken it.
Okay.
And so that kind of stuff with that couple there, like when he's like, there's a fucking big guy in our bathroom, and then he reaches through the glass
Yeah.
on the other side and the first like 20 minutes of the film, especially with the firefighters and everything, was such a like, yes, we're back. This is what the Michael Myers I remember from 78. Like this felt just turned up to 11. Like it was great. That scene there with the testing the knives really like drove that point home that his mental capacity is this like he's still very morbidly curious in a strange way. That he's like a lot of the things he does, he just does because he's like, can I do this?
Yeah. What happens when you do this?
Like when he's going down the stairs and he just like turns and he's like,
And he
snap.
snaps the head.
Oh.
I do like
Never runs.
One of my favorite things about this film is I feel like there was logic to a point. But yeah, it becomes again the mob mentality of like Tommy coming out and being like, yeah, we're gonna go get him. Evil dies tonight. I'm like, yeah, why hasn't the entire town ever galvanized together?
Because
to
they
fight
never
this
said it 240 times.
the evil dies tonight. Evil dies tonight. Yeah,
They
exactly.
had to say it 200, like Beetlejuice, the 3 times. You have to say it 240
240
times before the whole time.
But to me, my whole, I mean, like, and that's like now again, it has our modern takes on it, right? Where like everything's a hashtag, everything's a movement. Even when political things have not even fully like calmed down, everyone's like putting up banners on their Facebook.
I mean,
profile
there
pics.
has been like I forget which one it was. I think
Checking
it was
something real
Halloween
quick.
4.
How
There
many
was like
times
a militia that rose up, but it kind of. I mean, with this one, it was like to this level where it was like pretty much the whole town.
Like, I mean, this is a sad fact of it where it's like, I think it was during our last president's, time, and Shia LaBeouf posts a live stream of a flag that says "He shall not divide us," and then a bunch of MAGA people like literally found it. Like, okay, there's a plane that goes that way that's facing east. They literally found it 3 times. And it's like that kind of galvanization of people, like to do something towards them. It's like, this is a serial killer in your town, only in your town, once a year. And you all never like, maybe we should just boost up our neighborhood watch. Maybe.
Well,
just
to
once
be
a year.
fair, in this universe, he's not there every year.
Yeah.
He was there that one
This is
year,
1 year, and then
and it's been 40 years.
yeah. So
As I explained it, it's been 40 years.
it's been 40
It's
years.
the 40th anniversary.
Yeah,
Has it
40th
been?
anniversary.
It's been
1978.
40 years.
40,
yeah.
4 decades.
Yeah, 40 years, they
Cool.
they said.
Favorite characters? No, I'm just kidding.
But no, so I really do like Tommy bringing everyone together.
Yeah.
And Bill's like, yeah, let's take him down. I'm like, yeah, I would do that. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, run from there.
Old Huckleberry.
And I just liked the kind of concept of like everyone splitting off in their own groups and literally like trying to stay communicative and like keeping this neighborhood watch for the night. Cause I'm like, yeah, and that's the sad kind of thing about it too, where right, like
Telling everyone to go back inside.
but it's like also just the commentary that like it's not safe outside, for kids anymore, like because there are a bunch of things to be afraid about.
Sure.
So it is a different time frame, right? I also really enjoyed seeing what Allison and Mom would do, because for most of the movie, Laurie is kind of out of the picture.
Yeah.
And so seeing what the mom and Allison would do is kind of nice because it's like, kind of passing of the torch. Will it won't happen, X, Y, and Z. And Judy Greer, I really enjoyed just, you saw the trailers, you saw the shot of her carrying Michael Myers' mask, and it's like, the power. Because that's what Laurie Strode did.
I call it the badass Karen moment. I was like, oh yeah, badass Karen coming through.
But then also I really liked, at the very end, not the very, very end, but the end where everyone gets around and just like wails. I was like, I was, get him.
Yep.
Because you're just like, he got so many people. He got away with so much. And that's like,
And I think actually the interesting thing is they did something there, and I could be fine being the only one who felt this, but they did something interesting in that moment where for a brief second, I almost felt bad for him.
I mean, I think to your point, let's have a conversation about this. I think there's an interesting subversion that happens during this movie.
Yeah.
Of you being like, yeah, we should. Oh crap. I was like, yeah, gung-ho. I am, right? I am very gung-ho, like, yeah, go get Michael Myers. I could have been one of the people that helped cause the mentally distressed
Suicide
person
dress.
man to
Yeah,
kill himself. So it's like, I want it, but also look at the actions, what you've done. And then to your point, having the scenes like, do I then sympathize with someone who at this point, we haven't really seen anyone try to rehabilitate. We saw this creepy doctor who just like brought him to Laurie Strode.
Right. Because he was obsessed for
Yeah, he
his
was
own
obsessed.
reasons.
And so it's like, it asks the questions like, is this person beyond help? But to me, in my mind, in my canon, the only way this movie even makes sense is that no, this person
But I think they
was
I mean,
never good.
I think you're supposed to feel that a little bit because they have the breadcrumbs of like sympathy, right? Maybe he's not looking out over Haddonfield. Maybe he's looking in the window trying to see himself,
Mhm.
and he can't.
Even
And
the
then
establishing having a 6-year-old brain
Yeah.
kind of gives you a little bit of like, well,
So-
he doesn't.
this mob, right? Yeah. So this mob that like just made a guy kill himself is now beating the shit out of this guy. There was a part of me that was like, man, I am not actually sure who
Well-
I'm rooting for here. I'm rooting for Judy Greer.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the thing that happens with Tommy, right? He doesn't have a positive arc. He has
No.
a negative arc because he doesn't really learn from his actions. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. But he doesn't choose a different path. He decides like, yeah, well, we're still doing the right thing. There are some casualties, but we're still doing the right thing. So
Yeah.
he doesn't really
I'm
learn.
just going to do it a different way.
Yeah, he doesn't really learn.
Yeah.
And I think the ultimate fate of everyone, proves that like, yeah, you're if you haven't learned this, then you're doomed to, be another victim. But I think what's pretty interesting is just like, yeah, you're in it. And so you're kind of thinking about this again. And the funny thing is that this film takes place over the course of the entire night, the same night versus
The same exact night.
first film
Yeah.
took place over the course of like 3 days. So like there's a little bit of a different pace. So
Yeah.
I will say one last little thing. Sorry, go ahead. You're about to.
Oh, I was just going to say even the callbacks to the kind of cameo characters of like Nancy Stevens,
like the real
Marion.
actors.
Yeah, the
Mhm.
real actors. Even the way that she was attacked in the original movie in 1978 is almost the exact way as she was
Oh, in the
attacked
car.
in
Yep.
this one in the
Which
car.
is
why they have
including
the
red
little
lights
homage
and
where
stuff like that.
She rolls up her window at first. Do you
Yeah.
remember that? Lindsay, I think Lindsay is the character's name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She leaves to go talk to the kids. And what does she do? Rolls up the fucking windows. Because last time he reached in the window at her.
Yeah.
And I loved that little
Kyle
little
Richards
nod. Yeah.
is the actor.
The thing I was gonna say was I really forgot what I was gonna say.
Hell yeah.
Um,
You're welcome.
it's okay. I'll remember it eventually.
We'll remember at our qualms.
Any other favorite parts? Oh,
Uh,
I remembered it now because
oh.
it's tied into the qualms a little bit. I really liked the fact that we didn't have a character whose guts were ripped open, stapled together, and then could go fight toe to toe with Michael
yeah.
Myers. I loved the fact that we still had the moment of her trying. Like, I know it makes the pain go away. Badass moment of like self-medicating, getting out there. But the first person she kicks, boom,
Blood.
all of the staples
Yeah.
come out. And I was like, thank you.
Yeah.
Looking at you, fucking Prometheus.
But hey, that's the future. Here, people pay taxes and get driver's licenses.
just
There's
so-
no taxes in the future.
There's no taxes in Prometheus.
There was a part of me, and maybe I'm overhyping that moment a little bit for me, but it was like a thank you
Well,
because I was ready for her to go out and fight
Well,
and be like, oh my God, never.
Again, that's
never.
the thing about this film that, like, again,
I cut my finger and I couldn't do things for 4 weeks. I was like, I can't do anything.
I mean, that's the thing I enjoy about this is that it does take place in our reality. But like, it's Michael Myers is the one thing I was like, you're not real. You're
Yeah.
not a real thing. But no.
He's a
Favorite
real boy.
favorite characters?
Big John and Little John, 100%.
Big John, Little John.
That was any scene they were in was
Big John?
my favorite. I didn't get to say that favorite part, but like their entire storyline was like, I could have watched a short film that was just Halloween kills Big John and Little John.
I was so worried about that pitchfork coming back against them. I was like, oh no.
But it didn't.
I was so glad.
It came back the right way.
the right way.
I just loved their whole story. Like seeing him dancing to that like little like spooky scary like made me. I was like, Dan and I were both like, I don't want them to die. I know they're going to, but like I don't want them to.
I will
And then
say
him
this-
posing them as the picture at the end, which Michael Myers
It's
posing
terrible.
the victims
Yeah.
back, which is great. Loved it. I loved their whole thing. I could have watched a whole like 20-minute short film of just them.
Oh, I want to
Yes,
say
Little
one
John?
more favorite part. I did like when Lindsay got away from Michael Myers. Like it was a very good intense scene where it's like, oh my God, she's running. He's still on her. But then it's like, it's like the hobbits hiding away from the ring raids.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, Lord of the Rings. They even have the shot where they're looking up through the roots.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I liked that.
so you want a favorite part of me or favorite characters of me?
I'll go.
Okay.
I like Allison.
Mhm.
I like the passing of the torch, so to speak. I think even beyond her mom. Like
She
Karen,
saw
she's
red.
Like, yeah. And then I think I'm really caught between two characters. So
Hawkins.
No.
Hawkins is. I mean,
that
it
the
was
sheriff?
between Hawkins and Karen,
Getting
but
his
Hawkins.
backstory and his
Yeah.
motivation was really important.
I just really like that actor, Will Patton. I think.
Yeah, Will Patton.
Will Patton's great.
Really, really.
I like listening to him talk.
Yeah.
He's so good.
But getting to see that, like, what he did on the night, and that, like, him and Laurie were almost a thing, and like getting that whole, like, I was like, oh, they got a relationship.
Him and Swamp Thing is so good.
Yeah.
My favorite character is Tommy.
Okay.
I really liked him because he moved the plot. Nothing happened without him.
Yeah.
If he didn't take place, nothing would have happened in this entire movie.
You know what's so funny is like if you look at Anthony Michael Hall now and you look at him in the 80s.
Yeah.
At one point, because I don't think Bonnie was privy to his career going past the 80s. And she was
Dead
like,
Zone,
Who
baby.
is that? Who is that? And I was like, that's Anthony
You know
Michael
when
Hall.
his change happened, right?
No.
Edward Scissorhands.
Oh, okay.
He becomes the tough asshole boyfriend. You're
I
like,
was
but
like, that's-
you're the nerd.
You're Breakfast Club.
How did this happen?
And she's like, Anthony Michael Hall, that's not. Oh.
I just remember also from Dark Knight.
Yeah, Dark Knight.
But yeah, it's Edward Scissorhands. Suddenly you see him and he's like the jock boyfriend who has a van who beats the shit out of Edward Scissorhands or chases
Yeah.
him out of town.
I must have blacked out.
But no,
Wow.
Tommy is my favorite, absolute favorite. I think without him, the movie doesn't move forward. He controls the plot, and then Hawkins is my second because I like that you get invested into his story. I like that
Why he has the guilt.
why he has the guilt. Also, I thought he completely died in the last one, but I guess he didn't. So the fact
Did
that
he get run over in the first one?
I
He
don't
got
know.
like
He got stabbed in the neck, but I thought he got like
Ran
run over
over?
too. But
Maybe.
maybe I'm misremembering.
Yeah, but I'm just like, oh,
Let us know in the comments.
like they stabbed him. To me, they stabbed him. They showed you the body. They walked away, and I was like, oh, he did. I was
Well,
like,
this
oh, no,
is
he-
Halloween. Anything can happen.
Yeah, and so I was like, okay, a little strange. The strangers. I
It's
get
like-
that.
We don't know that Karen's dead.
Yeah, you don't know. She could
true.
survive.
We don't
You don't know.
know.
But I mean, and that's the thing where it's like, look, this dude got stabbed in the back 3 times, got shot 3 times. Man, he living, and so that's the cool, interesting thing where I thought halfway through the movie, where like I thought
He's living.
he's living.
Is that as if he's like going on vacation to the Bahamas
he's
afterwards? Like
living.
I'm living.
He's living, dog.
Got all my kills done. Going to Hawaii.
Living.
His
But
bumper sticker just says, I'm living.
I'm doing living stream right now on Twitch. Check it out.
Halloween, Hollow living.
The interesting thing, because like I think there was something about like this ends tonight or blah blah blah, and it was this idea.
It dies tonight.
Evil dies tonight. But this idea that like someone else was going to become a new Michael Myers kind of like crossed my mind while watching this.
Am I mistaken? Am I just realizing this now? And I'll have to go. I'm going to watch it again. But am I mistaken in saying that Anthony Michael Hall, the townspeople, all called it him, and then like Laurie, Hawkins, and Karen all called it, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
They definitely, because they had first
Because they kept
encounter-
saying it dies tonight.
Yeah, they kept.
Firsthand.
They knew that he was not a person, not a
Right.
human anymore. They have already accepted that, where everyone's like,
He
it's
dies.
him,
Evil
it's
dies
him,
tonight.
it's him.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of the thing where it's like they want to accept that it's a human. But when I the idea in my mind almost crossed of like there's gonna be a new Michael Myers at the end of this movie, and that someone else is gonna like take up a mantle. But
Do you think it was going to be Karen?
maybe
I did.
because like
Like she's going to look in the window and be like, sees Michael Myers and be like, oh shit.
because like
It can be you.
she kind of got to this point of like seeing like someone die in front of her that she tried to save, and then like her loss in humanity. I was like, is that what we're doing? Is that the story? Because but it kind of again harkens back to that. This would say that a good person could become evil, versus Michael Myers has always been evil. So
Since
it's like
the beginning.
yeah,
Yeah.
so
Because
that-
that other cop was like, yeah, my mom used to make me hang out with him and it sucked.
but that to me again that kind of again sells home that like Michael Myers is not truly like an allegory for anyone in our real world. That is literally just a pure evil human being.
Mhm.
So it's not like they're making commentary on that. Anyways, qualms.
Quams.
Who goes first?
Can I just, I know we're only supposed to have 2,
Oh,
but I'm going to have one that
are you pulling a Josh? Are you
I'm
bringing the
pulling a
bro-
Josh here just because I kind of talked
I'm
about
glad
how
that I'm a verb.
I'm glad
No one
that
cares about your honorable mention, Corey.
I'm glad that they did the whole like she can't fight thing, but man, am I bummed she was sidelined for the whole movie.
So that's one.
That's not one. I just want to throw that out there.
Well, I mean, the promotion,
that's what I mean. Like
Yeah.
it was, if it looked at anyway.
because that's Halloween. It's
She
Laurie
pulls
It's
out
Strode.
not like a real qualm because I'm happy because it meant that we saw a movie where injuries mattered, and I was like, I respect that more than that.
Yeah.
And we get a third movie, so I'm fine with it. That's not a real qualm of mine.
So what's your first one?
My first qualm is that I'm actually of the other end of it, where the more Michael Myers is explained,
You hate.
I don't like it. Expanding on the lore, the thing I loved about the first movie is that it's happening and there's nothing anyone can really understand or do about it. If it becomes either, for me at least, my own opinion is if it becomes either too metaphysical or it becomes too grounded, it loses something for me. And the building on the lore in the 2018 one was kind of cool, the extension of the family, but like having it become explaining more and more about Michael, it diminishes the terror for me. Having this unstoppable force that I really don't understand all that much beyond that, like, wow, he took a bunch of bullets and then walked off. Like, that's terrifying to me that he just haunted this girl, tried to kill her, murdered a bunch of other people, and then was just like, we don't know where the fuck he went. Like, that scares the shit out of me. When I see a spider in my room and I go grab a towel and I come back and I don't know where it is, I go, well, fuck. It's somewhere.
Well, gotta burn the house down.
It didn't just disappear. So, like, for me, like that expansion stuff, it takes away a little bit. So seeing him, like that monologue at the end, didn't do anything for me.
So I mean, I think in that monologue they really just said like, the more he kills, the stronger he becomes. That's not a human thing. That's a Dragon Ball Z thing.
Yeah,
that's not a real thing. But it kind of, I think, tries to have its cake and eat it too. Of being like, it's not a human, it's an evil thing that gets more powerful, and it's ascending to what? God? Because again, I don't know. I don't get it. To me, I'm very much into like, if it's supernatural, let's just say it's supernatural. If it's human, then say it's a human. To me, it's just a moment of like,
I have no problem with like the Omen works just fine, right? Damien.
Yeah. It's the devil.
It's the devil. That's fine.
Yeah.
If this kid is evil incarnate and he grows up and he tries to kill Laurie Strode in the house, like that movie to me, the original Halloween, is so scary. The fact that it's just this person breaks in and she's got to defend herself.
I mean, the idea that it's just some random, like, then that's the tough thing. Like, it's like, would I be more okay if it was like Scream and it was actually a person and they just wear different masks and maybe the mantle gets passed down? Like, I don't know.
No,
but like
for me, it's that like, and I got bits of this in this one that I didn't so much in 2018, which it was that kind of like little bit of senseless killing, but we really got that atmospheric stuff like that, like the scene where she's hiding under the tree and you're just hearing him breathe in the mask. That's the shit I miss.
Or just in the, the hallway with, in the original Myers house, the walking down the hallway, it's like very creepy. And then the blood, from, all that stuff.
And like seeing the flashbacks, they nailed that. Like he's shooting at him down the stairs and he's just walking out.
Yeah.
That I don't care if that bothered you, but that was such an homage to that original one that like, yeah, he doesn't stop.
Well,
for anything.
it's not a it bothered me, but this is a funny thing. This is my not qualm. Every cop can't shoot. Random person shoots him 3 times easy.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah. Well, I mean, in the original film, he gets shot 3 times in the chest.
Yeah, but Hawkins shooting literally around him.
Yeah.
He's just stormtrooper and it's so hard.
Yeah. I love it.
I actually leaned over at one point. I was like, you got horrible aim.
He sucks.
Yeah. Do they? Or is it just a part of what makes Michael Myers Michael Myers?
Or is he super fast and like maybe he's a speedster?
Maybe he's a speedster and he's actually moving at a weird.
He's absorbing everyone's speed.
So that was my first qualm, was that I'm just not a fan of like expanding on what makes Michael Myers tick.
Because then you get closer to the Curse of Thorn. And then you're just like, oh.
Yeah, and it's like when
Paul Rudd has to make a cameo.
It's like when you get into the further stuff of like what makes Freddy Krueger tick. Like, I don't care beyond that. I know what happened to him and now he haunts people. Like, there's certain characters that I feel a deep dive into is actually a step back. And for me personally, Michael Myers is one of those characters. I think the blank mask was a purposeful thing. My second qualm is that I didn't enjoy how many vastly different ideals were going on at the same time. So like either you had Karen and Laurie and Hawkins being like, he's coming here. We're both going to cut each other's heads off. That's how it ends. And then you have the daughter who knew and didn't tell them that, no, the doctor just brought him there because he was crazy and obsessed. And then you have the mob that's like, we're going to kill him tonight. He's just a man. And then Laurie's like, he's a ghost. And you're like, no. And it just was a little
And then Hawkins
too,
like, I'm sad.
it was a little too
There's a lot of shit going on.
convoluted for me, and too many people on different pages throughout the entire film. I can understand in like the first act, maybe even into the second, that like, oh, well, no, didn't they tell you the doctor brought him to you? He's not coming to you.
And also at the point where it's like, who is going to kill Michael Myers? Is it Laurie? Is it Allison? Or is it Hawkins? Right?
Yeah.
It's all, or is it Tommy? Because everyone's like, I have to kill them. It's like, no.
Which I don't mind as much because like everyone's got their personal relationship to trauma, which is fine. Like I get that. Everyone has their own way that they're like, well, I have to do this because of my trauma, but in reality it was this person. Anyway, that didn't bother me as much, but it was the vastly different, like there at no point the daughter could have been like, by the way, the doctor was the one who brought him to you. Like we don't have to be afraid of being here.
Maybe it's like all the ideas of like, man, I could do a whole movie about Hawkins. I could do a whole movie about Allison. It's like, what if we do all of them in one movie?
Yeah. And so like it was just a bit for me all over the place. I still really enjoyed it. And again, those atmospheric moments were like hit home runs for me. The entire car scene was great. I think all the kill, I loved all the kills, which is why I watch the Halloween movies. It's just the like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. But those are the two.
Josh, you or me?
You can go.
I think the first 20 minutes of the movie is an absolute mess. I think it should have started exactly.
He's waiting to say that to my face.
I think the opening should have been Laurie, no, let him burn. And then she's like, unconscious, blacks out, starting credits. Dun, 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 dun. Come back, 1978, Halloween. Then you get Hawkins' backstory. Then he wakes up. And then you go back to the hospital. And then you go back to the firefighters. But no, we started with fucking flashback first, and then credits, and then firefighters, and then Laurie at the hospital. I'm like, what are you doing to me?
Mm-hmm.
What are you absolutely doing to me? Like, I don't.
That's your editing stuff, right?
And so I was just like, I felt like the editing was just so wacky. It was so wacky. I can forgive like ramps up to their face to make it very dramatic. I could forgive artificial shakiness. I could forgive so much. But I was just like, it feels like you didn't have a plan to throw me back into this world. And again, if you're going to do a direct sequel, most direct sequels happen like you would like to see them like right after the thing or something that leads into the event, right? So like at least somewhere on the side of it. And that's the thing where it's like, oh, we're starting out with the boyfriend we didn't like, and the guy that we thought was dead, and then into a flashback, and we're like, what? The entire trailer shows me this fire truck. I want to see this fire truck right now. Don't start me off with this. And it's like, this is the character. It's like, okay, so maybe Hawkins is the main character. This isn't Laurie's movie. No, never mind. He's not the main character. So to me, the whole editing felt very weird. And I was just like, not about it. It kind of really detracted me. And I was just like, get over it. Here's Anthony Michael. So I was like, okay, cool. And then he does this whole like, let me explain to you the movie. I'm like, okay, now he's gonna explain the movie. And then my second qualm is a lot of nothing happens in this movie. So much nothing happens. And I made a point of it. It's like the first movie takes over the course of 3 days. You're introducing Laurie of being like this, Sarah Connor, who's got like all this stuff, her compound, and she's crazy, and the parents don't, the kids don't get it. And then Michael in the asylum, and you got these cool shots like, oh, he's there and he's older, and it's like, oh my God, he's alive, and it's just like he's super strong. It's like, okay, cool. And then he's slowly making his way back to Haddonfield. And here it's just like, okay, we started exactly where we ended. So we should be hitting the ground running. And we don't for the first 20 minutes. And so it's just like, okay, all right, let's see where it goes. And then, they start building the team. We're like, okay, cool. And so a lot of stuff happens, but not a lot of development between any of the characters. Again, I don't know what anyone really learned from this.
At least they mentioned that the dad died.
Yeah, which
no one cared in the first film.
But I mean, and that I like how they had that motif of like, he'll always be with us. Michael Myers will always be with us. And I'm again, like, that's the fun thing that like Michael Myers is a plague upon this city.
Yeah.
Upon this town. But like Allison doesn't kill him. Karen doesn't kill him. Like no one gets really the quote unquote finishing blow or any satisfaction. At least in the first one, we got a satisfaction. We got a payoff that like Laurie, Allison cut her and it's like, yeah, with the family and the daughters.
Technically Karen does, right? because she gets the knife.
She gets
in
the
back
last
at the
stab
end.
and she walks away. But then at the very end, what happens to her? She gets killed. But then like,
Right, because it's a middle movie.
but then Laurie Strode, at least she guys be like, no, let him burn. It's like, oh man, starting all over again. But this one's like, if it just maybe ended right where you see the face and that's it, and you're like, oh god. Like maybe Josh, you could have that moment where it's like maybe she sees herself in Michael Myers, or and then we leave it at that. But then we start off the third film with Michael Myers is actually alive and he kills her. It just felt like, oh man, this is kind of a bummer. And it's not saying like, oh, every movie has to have a happy ending, but it's like, oh, where was the big payoff? And I think to me the close thing was that everyone was beating his ass right before he killed everyone. But it's like, imagine watching the 2018 and then he's burning in there and we saw the whole firefight scene. It's like that's not that rewarding anymore.
Yeah, like what if it had ended, they were beating his ass, and then they all stop, and then he like grabs the knife, and that's out.
Yeah, and then you have
What if that's where it ended?
And then you have Laurie Strode exposition, just he's ascending.
Well, they could have still done that.
Exactly.
They still could have done that, and that's where it
Exactly.
ends.
Exactly.
Instead of him actually getting up and killing everybody.
So, because I mean, even everyone's
Or he just stabs Tommy, and then
Yeah.
it cuts to black.
like everyone's like, oh, this is the Empire Strikes Back movie. It's like even that had the ending of like Luke and Leia being like, we have a war ahead of us. You're like, oh man, and they're looking to the stars, and you're like, oh man, the resistance is nothing, and you're like,
Yep.
On to the next one, and you're like, okay, So, Josh,
I have been spending the last 3 days trying to figure out like how to word, because I feel it's becomes increasingly apparent to me. It becomes I've said that like 3 times today.
evil dies tonight.
Evil dies.
It becomes tonight.
Well, because one could argue that it's like, well, your qualms are what it is. I mean, there's cheesy dialogue. Like the Evil Dies Tonight was really cool at first. And then on the 500th time, you're like, yeah, we got it.
No, we got it. I mean, they did the same thing with telling the story.
I mean, it's also kind of like why Make America Great Again.
If you're already
sucks.
doing flashbacks, you don't need to retell what happened 40 years ago.
Yeah.
By the way, did you know it happened 40 years ago?
So yeah, I there were so many times that I was like, with some of that's kind of a part of that kind of movie. There's a little bit of a cheesy dialogue-ness to it.
It's a slasher, yeah.
It's a slasher. I am of the mind that I do like the explanation. I do like when you expand the lore, and I like logic in a sense too with some of with movies, inspired by our Horror Movies R Us episode from last week.
Oh, check it out.
It's been fun watching, just going back and watching some of the movies that I remember going, oh, I really love that. And just comparing, like some movies come with like logic to the kills. And like, so it's hard for me. It's hard not to have, for me, a qualm about what the movie is, where it's illogical kills, illogical behavior. It's like, Josh, you're not its target audience.
Well,
Right.
I mean,
I'd be like, I don't like the Thing because it can be anybody. You're like,
Yeah. Well,
that's the point. Well, I mean, I think you should definitely have.
It's hard for me to put these into words because it's like, well, I'm just putting myself on blast.
You should.
No,
No,
no, no,
no. I'm
Not at
the
all.
same way. I have the same hiccup as well, and I just make a joke about it now because I tell Steve all the time, it's like I hate it. Like I will totally agree more of like Joker gets shot in the face, he lives. I don't know why, it's dumb, but
Yeah.
like it's like, and Michael Myers, I don't know why. But
I
then, like,
actually have no problem with it's not the gore, it's not the gruesomeness, it's none of that. It's really just the explanation and just the logic behind the behavior and the stuff. And so I'm just like, it's hard for
But I
me
mean,
to
and
get
so-
behind it.
and to your point, like maybe part of the movie, and this has been the longest thing. Everyone likes Michael Myers when he's not explained. Like that's typically what runs the series. Like everyone, that's why they always keep retconning, because it's like every time we explain it, it goes sour.
Yeah.
But then, and the whole like kind of like the Joker thing, like not having a Joker origin story allows you to have, do you know why I got these scars? And you could lie about all those stories, and you're like, oh my god, he's wrapped in mystery.
shape him to whatever you need.
And the shape, the same thing. It's like, is he a baby man? Is he a baby, or is he evil, or is he just a brother who wants to kill his sister? Right? Because that's the Rob Zombie ones where you find out that Laurie's actually the sister.
yeah, we don't
So-
talk about those.
I like those. You
Hey.
dare yuck my yum?
I'm not yucking your yum. I'm just saying we don't talk about those.
You don't talk.
My wife and I, we don't talk about those movies.
Hey, they got a big old guy. Okay, Daniel
Hey.
Harris came back.
I did look. For me, it was always just the first one.
Not even the second one.
No.
The second. I think this one takes after the second one. No,
This what?
No, this one takes place
after only one.
Yeah,
'Cause- okay,
it's
and-
one 2018 and this one, and
Okay.
and I think I'm still of the like mind that For me, still just 1978, and that's kind of I'm good with it.
Second qualm, Josh, or that was it?
No, that was it. I mean, it's yeah. Rating.
Corey's first.
I am first. Let me get my little handy dandy note here.
Handy dandy notey boy.
3.4.
3.4 for Corey. Wow,
3.4.
no ceremony.
3.4 for me. Again, it was a little convoluted, and I feel like the further I go down, for me, again, for my opinion, the further I go down this rabbit hole, the less I'm enjoying Michael Myers as a character. So to get the slight explanation that he's just kind of this shape is better for me, but at the same time, I'm
But also, like, to your point, it lost its kind of like simplicity of
Yes.
Laurie Strode surviving the night from Michael Myers. Now it's all these, and that's the thing where it's like, it's cool to add like trauma and family and all stuff, but then once you start putting it into application and execution, it starts becoming really muddy.
When it became a whole city thing, that's where I was kind of like, I don't know. I really like this block, this maybe a few families here and there, but really it's about the Strode family.
Yeah, I mean, like throwing in the logic of if Big John, Little John just called the police,
Sure.
but that might.
But I don't even mind that so much. Like, I don't mind other people in these films getting killed because that's part of a slasher film. It's a slasher
that's what
film.
logic would happen. Like, to me, again, logically, Tommy would get people and do all the things, but it muddies what Halloween kind of is.
Yeah.
Like, Big John, Little John calling the police would have been the smartest thing to do, and what any logical person would. Killian Murphy. What else do we do when a prowler comes in? Call the police.
Yeah.
That's literally what you do.
Yep.
But that doesn't become a horror. That doesn't become a Halloween movie. That's not a Michael Myers movie. So
Yeah. So yeah, it just, I really like the simplicity of it all. And it had some and I like the atmospheric stuff. The thing that John Carpenter does so good in the original, and why I love The Thing so fucking much, is because there's so much tension just in the atmosphere of what's happening. It's not necessarily what's happening, it's the possibility of what could happen. And there's a lot of that in this film that I missed from the 2018 one, which respectfully had to do a lot of heavy lifting with retconning and laying down a foundation. So this was allowed to breathe a little bit more. But like those moments of her hiding under the tree, for the bridge, or even the daughter walking towards the closet that Laurie hid in the first film, like they had these moments where I was like, this is why I love this series. And I would love more of that. So.
But yeah.
3.4.
3.4. Josh? Oh, it's me.
It's either one of you.
No, it's. Oh, I mean, he gets,
said I'm going last
because he got the
Nerd on Nation.
The Nerd on Nation vote. Mine is a solid 3.
Solid 3.
Solid 3.
Got you.
I feel like it's good. It's only $20 million to make it. But you did really set a high bar with the last one, and it without the crazy editing. If I could forgive that, if I could forgive like a lot of the overdone exposition, it's still not like a satisfying horror ending in a way. Like, it doesn't end like how a horror film would normally end.
Sure. Yeah.
So
Josh.
3.
You want to hold hands? Okay.
That's
3.
what this reaching
it's
was.
A solid 3.
So
solid 3.
You're both grumps.
We're both grumps.
We're both grumps.
I mean, that's
everybody was right, kind of.
Yeah, and this
no, because it was between you and me
Oh yeah.
on the Nerd on Nation, so a lot of people were wrong.
Ooh, baby.
I was.
So I mean, who gets shout outs?
I'm pulling it up now, but do what you got to do.
I want to give a shout out to a comment that I saw online that made me just laugh out loud. It was a comment on a video that said, it was a quote: Laurie Strode, evil dies tonight. Morgan Freeman, evil in fact, did not die tonight.
Evil, in fact, did not die that night. All right. So the shout outs go as followed. For Tom and Josh, Dana P gets a shout out. Kristen F gets a shout out. Justin, and Noe, and Joel.
Shout out to y'all.
Shout out.
You only got one vote.
From who?
Dana P.
Wow.
Wow.
You can't. Who?
Who said? Who called me out?
I got the rest of the votes with Josh. So
I'm living.
That's fine. But
Can't fix that.
Can't fix that. I'm living, man. Michael Myers living. So, but no, I look forward to the next one. I want to see where it ends.
Halloween ends.
Slight prediction, because I mean, we're gonna cover it.
Yeah, I think we have to at this point.
Absolutely. Yes. Of course we are.
Evil dies then. That movie.
I don't think it does.
I think they,
I don't think Michael Myers might. I don't think Evil dies.
I think in a weird way they'll do some kind of like they're destined to be together, Laurie and Michael, and then they're gonna die together, and that's gonna be the end of the series.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if it has a finale end, I'm like, cool. Now just reboot it purely, because I think John Carpenter was onto something, because the Halloween franchise originally was gonna be like, here's Michael Myers for one movie, and then here's another story.
It was supposed to be an anthology of different things that happen on
Halloween. But everyone was like, no, make it about Michael Myers. And that's why we're in the mess we're in now.
Yeah.
So
because Halloween 3 was about those masks.
Yeah.
And it was cheesy as hell.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Cheese Factor.
There you have it.
Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. You grumpers, grippers.
You guys, everyone who got it right, you guys were the Gatorade, grass-fed, gluten-free, Haddonfield, having.
Let's do a
Michael
flashback
Myers.
to the beginning of the episode.
Now, Little John, Big John,
There it is.
Hawkins boys.
There it is.
Hawkins boys.
I just had to say it because we've been doing it.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I'm glad it's
And
continuity.
I'm sorry, Julie. She tries to type in all those things.
I did it.
I didn't.
I did it for World's End. And it was hard because at one point we repeated the same thing 6 times between Caitlin and I. I was like, crowning glory, crowning glory.
I typed in no Corey.
No, Corey.
I said no.
No, Corey. Everybody at home, thank you.
Thank you, Sam.
Willkommen, bienvenue, welcome.
Thank you so much for watching if you're on the YouTubes or listening if you are on your favorite podcasting app. Speaking of, we are everywhere podcasts can be heard. So I pulled my headphones.
And also, hey, we're award-winning show.
We are an award-winning show.
Put some respect on it.
We are a award-winning show. I can't wait to put the trophy on the table just for a couple of episodes.
Just ripped out our headphones out of this award-winning show.
Yeah, we're on the 222nd episode.
Corey dies tonight.
Actually, it's almost the 400th episode with the update. With a lot of stuff, a lot of things.
Anyway,
so if you're new to us, check out our website, nerdon.tv. It has all of the information on everything that we do. Do check out that Nerd On Nation, like I talked about at the beginning. It legitimately helps us to upgrade our content and to keep doing what we've been doing for 4 years.
Please.
It really does help us. The Discord is growing all the time. Really cool people over there. Join the conversation of movies, video games. There literally is a channel for everything, including memes. So check that out, nerdon.tv/Discord. Stop by, rate, review, share us with your friends and family. That is legitimately how we grow. Ratings and reviews do help independent podcasters like us. So check it out. Thank you so much for listening. Take care of yourselves. You know the drill. As always, Nerd On!
Ending broadcast.
I'm editing this one?
You're editing this one?
No, I'm not. Julie still is. Hi, Julie.
Is she?
Yeah, because she said November, I think. So.
Let me read the fucking text.
Yeah, she said November 15th.
You said December. I think. Gives me enough to say that you don't know.
I hope you keep all of this. I think she does.
November 15th to January 10th.
What did I say? November 15th.
You said November. You just said November.
And then I said November 15th. Play it back for us, Julie. Yeah, she said November 15th. All right. So you're opening. Let's do this thing.
Opening on production.
I forgot they're all rolling.
All right, let's go.
What is going on, everybody?
Maybe give her a cleaner intro.